This is part 2. If you haven't watched part 1, go watch it. But if you have, go watch it again. I could use the views. Done? Good. Welcome back to Infernum. Let's see what I'm doing today. Digging. The eggs reject your attempt at claiming the blade. Okay, well that doesn't give me a whole lot to go off of. Ah, I see. Mining down to the underworld with a brand spanking new nightmare pickaxe to get a hell forge, which I use to make the Obsidian Outlaw summoning armor. Best summoner set, and it looks cool. It looks cool and mysterious. I dress like this IRL. I have been reported multiple times. No, I'm not cheating on you. That's just my second wife, okay? I do it in anime all the time. It's realistic. That definitely happens. Anime is realistic. Remember, it is always okay and even correct to mimic the mannerisms of characters that you see within anime. That is a normal thing to do. You will not be socially ostracized. People aren't making fun of you. That is how real people behave, for sure. After a quick trip to a demon altar, I had the summoning item for our next boss, the Hive Mind. A boss fight already? Yeah, what else would you be here for? What to say about this boss? Well, that its mobility has seen a pretty steep increase, as the boss is constantly dashing around or teleporting. Alright, summoner might not be the move on this one. It kind of moves around a lot. Yeah, the hardest part about this boss is actually hitting it. Probably why it has less health than the last two bosses we've seen. Thank goodness. Hive Mind has some moves that are actually pretty similar to the Brain of Cthulhu, circling the player and dashing at them. Other than that, there are plenty of projectiles, of course, from Cursed Flame to Shade Rain, all the while the Hive Mind is spawning more enemies. Just put me out of my misery. I made the difficult decision to go back to Rogue for this fight since my whip could barely hit the boss, and the summoning weapons I had weren't really cut out for the job. I also realized why I hadn't seen a goblin invasion yet. Hey, wait a second. I never blew up a shadow orb. Well, there we go. I also stumbled upon a meteorite that I guess I just missed the notification for because I actually didn't even know one landed. Conveniently, there's a good rogue weapon that I can make with meteorite, the Meteor Fist. I spent a while farming goblins on the side of the world so I could summon the goblin army myself, and made my new weapon. Then of course I fought the goblin army. I really didn't want to do any more bosses before I had my accessories upgraded. The goblin army was really easy, thankfully, partially due to the Meteor Fist being a pretty good weapon, and I jumped into my elevator to find the goblin tinkerer. You're saved! Welcome to your new indentured servitude. Obviously, I bought rocket boots and a tinker's station. With my new accessories made and reforged, I was actually ready to fight the Hive Mind, and hopefully I'd be able to actually hit it. I gave it another try and can confirm that it went a lot better. And on my third attempt, I actually beat it. You'll notice for a lot of the fight that the Hive Mind isn't even on screen. Isn't that nice? It does make the fight feel a bit drawn out. I'll leave it uncut just so you can see how long it takes. Took me like, what, 3 tries? That's not bad. That fight wasn't bad at all. More annoying than hard, I would say. Well said, me from over 7 months ago. Yes, it took me this long to get around to editing this. Filthy glove. Anyway, with Hive Mind defeated, Aerolite would now be available to us. What next? The perforators? Nah, I don't have to. Actually, I'll tell you what. Let me look here. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Queen Bee, oh, kill me. Okay. I'm not a super big fan of Queen Bee, if you can't tell. Before that, though, I went ahead and got Aerolite. Hold up now, is Aerolite on the surface? Is it? Be honest with me, please don't lie, I can't take that anymore. The trust, it needs to be there. I'll tell you what, if it was in the air instead, I'd have some words to say. Oh, I see, the wiki is my friend. With benefits, haha. Sorry, I didn't mean to walk along your ceiling. Apparently Aerolite got moved since I last played Calamity. It's now actually on Cloud Islands, which makes a lot of sense, considering, you know. Oh, and they designed the little oar, like little air, little gust of wind. They think they're so cute. I've never seen they look like. I decided a new armor set was a good excuse to change classes, but I wasn't really sure what to go with. Okay, now what do? We roll a dice, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5-sided dice, sure. I'll find it. A 6, on a 6 I reroll, on a 6 I reroll. 3. 1, 2, 3. Melee. Interesting, alright, sure. Gauze dagger, let's see. I don't know if I want to kill a giant bee with a dagger. I mean, I don't know. Is this on? Is this thing on? Are we sure this is it? That's kind of cool. I'm not getting that close to Queen Bee, I don't think. Respectfully. Tracking disc. Looks cool. Yeah, well, I was gonna switch, but these look too fun, so never mind. What is that? Frog? Alright, well, we gotta use frog. Come on. Frog. I can switch! I could switch! I could be a swinger. I could hang a pineapple upside down on my mailbox. After all that, I still decided to mainly go rogue, because the gauze dagger actually sucked. A lot of the early Draydon weapons kinda suck. The tracking disc, on the other hand, is incredibly good. The frog, on the other hand, was yet another victim of early game summoning AI. Frog, you're not making a good case for yourself. I made my aerospec armor and the helmets for both rogue and summoning, and decided to just test out and see if the frogs would be viable for Queen Bee. Okay, frogs, you're putting in a lot of work right now, good job. That would be a resounding no. I don't think the frogs would be viable for anything that even moves, much less Queen Bee, maybe the most mobile pre-Hardmode boss. Anyway, I spent a good amount of time mining Hailstone because I needed it for a weapon I was very excited for. You've all been asking for it. Shameful. That's fitting, I guess. I'm sorry. I took a trip to the Tinkerer to reforge some stuff, and I guess I made a couple of other swords, but honestly, I never even used them. Nice. Alright, and I believe I can get 2 of those. Right, yeah, I can switch. Ha ha ha. I bounce. This is a little ridiculous. Wow. Going in casual 70 miles per hour. After I finished fanboying over the Biome Blade, I actually got back to progressing the game. I don't want to make an arena. I don't want to make an arena. Please, don't make me make an arena. Do I really want to do Queen Bee? No, but I'm trying to do everything. Except the perforators. Who cares? I actually so badly didn't want to make an arena that I just decided to fight Skeletron instead. So, I also decided to just make molten armor for if I felt like using melee. Then I made the Vile Feeder, which is actually a summoning weapon I had access to right after the Eater of Worlds, but trust me, this summon is actually really good. Anyway, I don't know if you can tell, but I've just been making new gear and changing my mind back and forth for the past few minutes, so why don't we actually fight a boss before my viewer retention gets any lower? Progression be darned. I do not care about you, Queen Bee. Why is this using a Megalovania guitar synth? Skeletron is probably the best designed Infernum boss in Pre-Hardmode, in my opinion. This fight is really the first taste of Infernum you get, and it's really fun. Also pretty difficult, as you'd expect. Skeletron lets you dip your toes into the bullet hell aspects that will become much more prevalent down the road, and it makes for a pretty great fight. It's basically nothing like the normal Skeletron fight, save for the headspin attack. This fight is apparently one of the first real hurdles in Infernum, and I can see why. Sorry about that. You might have noticed that I'm fighting Skeletron at my base, which regularly isn't possible. Luckily, Infernum adds an actual Skeletron summoning item, which has the amazing bonus of automatically setting the clock to nighttime. I don't know who made that decision, but they deserve a passionate kiss from yours truly. Anyway, it seems I died to this guy a lot. I did actually get a bit tired of doing attempts though, and decided to continue another day. Alright, I got my Earl Grey, potatoes are boiling, I'm ready. Nobody probably noticed this, but up until this point, and for all of the last video, I've never had the screen fully zoomed out. Neat little fact, all my recordings before this point were done in the wrong aspect ratio, because I didn't have my game in full screen mode. There you go. This is good. I've been trying to replace coffee with tea. I was drinking like 3 to 4 cups of coffee a day, and it's like, I should probably stop doing that. You know, one slight problem about like pre-hardmode, and this just goes for like base Terraria too, but especially in modded with stuff that moves around a lot and kind of keeps its distance. Pre-hardmode melee, it's really kind of a pain. And even with like the summoning and the whips, you know, you get the bosses, especially like Skeletron, that just levitate out of range, and it's like, okay, well, it kind of sucks that some weapons just don't have the range to function. Just die! Just die. Aw, come on. I should have played better. I got desperate. I threw it all. Eventually, for some reason, I had an attempt where I just completely locked in. What's going on here? Oh, okay. You were being funny, I understand. Yay! Okay. Okay. My thoughts on that fight. I really like it, actually. That was probably the hardest, but that was fun. It felt skill-based. I liked it. I love Megalovania Synth, thank you. Now though, I had to do the unfun part of actually going into the dungeon. There isn't anything new about this, it's the dungeon. Murmasa should be in here. Pro tip for anyone, top chest of the dungeon should always contain a Murmasa. There we go. And a shadow key, very nice. My hotbar is actually painful. Who is hitting me? Why is that ball and chain so long? Leave me alone. Oy. Do kind of wish interacting with stuff didn't switch the weapon type, but is what it is. Yeah, apparently right-clicking always seems to change the attunement on the Biome Blade if you have it equipped. It's slightly annoying. There's too many weapons to use. I hate to say it, there's too many. You know, the first time I ever actually beat Calamity was ranged, because I am a loser. I finally got a summoning weapon drop I was looking for, and well, good damage, but they do suffer from the common summoning problem of horrible pathfinding. Why is it so hard to program summons? Do you even try? Anything that does not fly is like utterly useless. Look at them. I can't get over this half block. I'm just saying, I am a real big fan of the summoner class, and I don't want to be too negative, but I just want ground-based summons to be able to do the bare minimum. The bare minimum of recognizing what a half block is. I got everything I wanted from the dungeon and got out of there. I think the dungeon becomes less fun every time I play the game. Using the shadow key, I went around opening chests in the underworld to get items that I would probably never use, and I broke into the underworld Draydon lab because it had quite a silly weapon. Unfortunately, you can't actually use the Murasama until you beat Devourer of Gods. I don't know why I say unfortunately. Killing everything in 5 seconds up until Devourer of Gods wouldn't actually be that fun at all. What? Hi? Hello? Cool joint. How's it going? 3 disciples, 1 mind, 1 deity, 1 purpose. Tempered by the holy flames of providence, an ancient artifact is crystallized, with the sole purpose of initiating the ritual at the cliff of this temple. Okay, I don't care. How does this lava feel though? Ow. My bad. I'll come back later. I didn't know it just yet, but that place would end up causing me some of the most pain I've experienced in my gaming career. Luckily, we're nowhere near that. I got a claymore from a bone serpent and was thoroughly done with hell. Welcome to the future, everybody. In the future, we fly. Oh no, you can't spam it anymore? How could they do this? It's still cool. That's not how you swing a sword either. Are you stupid? I also started hunting down labs to get the encrypted schematics, so I wouldn't have to later. Starting with the one in the planetoid, and then the ice biome. Why so many turrets for this little place? This place isn't even that great. Oi! For free? Sorry. And then I found the lab with one of the best mounts I've ever seen. Oh. You know what? That's all I wanted. I just stole your car. This is ridiculous. It's not the most balanced thing I've ever seen, but do I care? No. With this newfound power of mine, I broke down and actually made the Queen Bee arena. The things I do for you guys. I despise Queen Bee so much I don't even want to talk about her, but I shall because I am respectful towards all women. Thankfully, there's really not much to talk about, although I quickly found out melee was not the way for this fight. Aside from her different projectiles she has now, she's really only got 2 new attacks. One of her attacks is admittedly pretty cool, where she makes a cone of stingers while hornets fly towards you, while the other is a bullet hell-like attack with hornets flying for both sides of the screen. Also, as much as I dreaded the fight up to this point, it only took 2 tries. And I hate to admit it, this fight was actually kind of fun. Pretty good. I should have done that earlier. Didn't know it'd be that easy. Squaga. Die. Why haven't I made lightning boots yet? Am I stupid? Next on the chopping block was Slime God. Pretty popular boss, and I share that sentiment. Also, there was like a whole side plot where I went to the Abyss to get weapons, but I didn't know Infernum changed the way you get the Abyss weapons. And generally, there's just a lot of changes in Infernum that you really have no way of knowing unless someone told you or you looked it up, but even then some of the changes are really hard to find, so I guess I'm just a big old jolly spanker with an idiot on top. By the time I actually found out I could craft or catch the weapons, I realized I didn't have what I needed for it, and didn't really care to farm for it. Okay, well I don't care then. In fact, I'm fighting Slime God right now. Nothing matters anymore. Anyway, I guess we're fighting Slime God now, yay! New and improved with more projectiles and brought to you by Slime ASMR videos. I had been recording for a pretty long time, so after a few attempts I took a break. Okay, well, there's skill involved here that I don't have. You may be able to tell I wasn't really bringing my A game, considering I kept dying as soon as the fight started. And on the next day, I hopped on and beat it in like 20 minutes. The obsidian shield had nothing to do with that, it was all skill. I can see this. It's coming together in my mind. The form, wait, it's coming to me? It's coming to me? Ah, yes. Secrets through the veil. Okay, I'm gonna win. Real quick. Ow. Ah, he got the drop on me. Hey, I went back to drinking coffee today. It's just this one time, okay? My balloon is floating sideways. Okay, I drink my coffee. Maybe I shouldn't chug everything I drink. They do call me the ball-fondling Chuzzle Guzzler, though. The gills and flipper and shine potion were maybe not completely necessary. That's fun. I liked it. Notice how these bosses just kind of keep going down? I noticed. Defeating Slime God gave me Purified Gel, which I actually do need for quite a bit, actually. You actually need it to craft the Knight's Edge and a few other weapons that are kind of like the Knight's Edge equivalent for other classes. Like this summoning weapon. Don't know what these are, but let's go. What are y'all doing? Y'all aren't doing anything, okay. Go off. Or rather, don't. Apparently. I'm not gonna lie, this sucks really badly. I mean, it's okay. Well, let's pull out the DPS meter. With two of these guys, we're hitting between 110 and 130 damage mostly. I guess under ideal circumstances, it's outperforming these guys a bit. Under ideal circumstances, of course. That's your range. I don't know, they might have it beat in the range department here. They only stopped because the dummy despawned. Okay, yeah. I did more testing with this weapon, I don't think I can express how disappointing it is. You combine all of those weapons to get a new one that's both boring and sucks. I don't see why anyone would even use this over the imp staff. So anyway, I made a Knight's Edge. Cry about it. Finally, edging. And also, Fractured Arc, to whom it may concern. Wow. I forget the goblin lives up here anyway. I'm so used to you living in the hole where you belong. But somebody thought they could live next to me. Alright, melee is goated as usual. Very cool, yeah. Maybe I'll save melee for whenever, you know, it just turns into like a glorified free range class. Poor Fractured Arc, I'm just edging its recharge timer. I had a friend tell me what flicker gooning was. Crazy stuff. Alright. I bought another Slime God treasure back from the operator NPC because I'm lazy and I needed more purified gel to make static gel armor. The last armor I would make before hard mode. Literally mythical pool. Put me in one of those mobile ads with the guy soy facing and like screaming as he's like, I don't know, pulling out like 5-star anime girls or whatever. Unsurprisingly, the summoning weapons suck. Feel free to attack the boss whenever it's convenient for you, I guess. You know, strangely enough, summoning is actually really powerful after pre-hard mode, once the summoning weapons can hit non-stationary enemies and figure out how platforms work anyway. No, I didn't get the herring staff, leave me alone. Oh, thank you. Thanks to the entire team, everyone who supported, and those who all play the mod and keep it alive. The confines of this painting is not enough to fit the entire team. Oh, man. Who cares, am I right? I tested a few different weapons, but ultimately I ended up sticking with Rogue for Wall of Flesh. Wait, Wall of Flesh? Yeah. I'm gonna fight it. Surprised? Didn't want to pet you. Did I pet Mark or the slime? Now, if I had the Ball of Fugu, I would definitely use that, because that's good. However, that entirely hinges on whether it rains, which is kind of funny, I guess. And now we get to do the fun process of making an arena. Well, so the long and arduous task of building a bridge began, because I was still too high and mighty to just use an arena mod. During this process, I had plenty of things to say, so I apologize. Pro tip to anyone who makes videos, don't talk constantly, unless you're like streaming, in which case, yeah, sure, like 0 attention span. But if you're recording, don't talk constantly. Makes it so hard to cut stuff out. Sometimes I edit and I just get to a point where I'm like, can this guy shut up? I know that's probably what you guys are thinking, but just kind of makes it annoying to sort through my own slop. Why am I recording this? I'm building a bridge. Oh, something interesting is going to happen when I'm building the bridge. Gotta keep my camera on. Maybe I thought I'd say something funny at some point. I don't know why, that never happens here. You know how I was talking about me sorting through slop and saying that I need to shut up? This is exactly what I'm talking about. A couple weeks from now I'm gonna be in my editor ball bashing because I won't shut up. I say that I don't want an editor because I like the control of my videos. I'm a control freak and a narcissist, and I see people as like stepping stones for me to just walk on. But mainly, way too insecure to let anyone else edit my footage. Oh hey, I got out of class early today because of a tornado siren. Whew, Oklahoma's nice. Yeah, I forgot. Then my editor would have to sift through all of the unacceptable things that I tend to say. That's a joke, by the way. Also, he'd have to do that for free because I'm poor, lol. Finally, I finished my bridge and I was rewarded by a Blade Crest Oath Sword dropping from a demon. How nice. My bridge now spanned an entire half of my world, which in hindsight was absolutely overkill, but I was expecting the Wall of Flesh to be really hard. I didn't waste any time and immediately summoned the Wall of Flesh. Though I didn't really expect to beat it, I just wanted to make sure the bridge was long enough. What am I looking at here? That's interesting, I guess. Yeah, there's actually quite a bit to say about this one. You may or may not have noticed that the Wall of Flesh now has 4 eyes, and said eyes now float in front of the Wall of Flesh and fire massive lasers. So really the same as vanilla. Each eye has a separate health bar, and once it's down, that eye begins to circle the player and shoot lasers. One really cool feature is that the lasers are actually synced to the boss music. Yeah, it's not looking too bad. Once all of the eyes are out, they'll switch between circling the player and returning to the wall to fire a wall of lasers. Now you can finally attack the mouth and end the fight. Overall, the fight's actually really fun. Getting there. Finally, on my third attempt, it was time to leave pre-hard mode. Yeah, easy peasy. Was it my cleanest fight? No. Did I win? Yup! Wall of mid defeated. Another one on the pile, just another day for me. Someone's gotta do it. That was surprisingly easy, actually. And now I was in hard mode, which is where the game gets really fun. Infernum wasn't looking too bad. Except I know, and you know, that it gets much worse from here. What we've seen so far is nothing compared to the pain I'm going to go through in the next parts. So stick around, subscribe, watch the content, take a look around, see something the government doesn't want you to see.